Fasten your seatbelts and have the flask of tea and the ham and cheese sandwiches ready, because what's this one? The Crew is nearly here. So the Crew is currently in a closed beta as of Monday just gone, and it's quite a meaty one, similar to the Destiny one that's going on at the minute. There's a decent amount here to really give you a good idea as to what the Crew is, because going into it I didn't really have much of an idea. I knew it was about cars, but that was kind of it. And it's really after opening up my eyes, because there's a lot of things that really surprised me about the Crew. So first of all, as a lot of people know, it takes place in this vast map that is a sort of representation of the United States of America. So you take in a lot of major cities like Chicago, Detroit, Miami is in there, Las Vegas is there, LA is there. But yeah, it's not done to scale, but it is still pretty massive. And sometimes you'll be driving long distances. There's also kind of a fast travel option to areas you've been before, or there are airports, stuff like that. But as well as that, there are random little side mission type deals on the road as you're kind of traveling these long distances, which make it a bit more interesting. And they're not pivotal to the whole thing, like they just give you extra XP and stuff. So for instance, you just activate them as you kind of drive through them on the road, and it might be a case of drive as fast as you can whilst staying on the road and not crashing and burning off of it. Or another one will be like a kind of a slalom deal where you have to go in and out of virtual skiing poles, which kind of keep it some way interesting, because yeah, as I said, very, very vast map, so you do have to fill it with things. And that's one thing about the Crew. Holy shit, do they fill this screen with things. There is an awful lot going on between your speedometer, your smartphone, just random flashy graphics about activating certain missions or just things around you. It's a lot to take in, which is the case with a number of things with the Crew. Like your car itself. So you start the game, whatever, and after a bit you get the option to buy a car, and you're in a showroom. One thing that I do like actually is that before you buy any car, you can test drive it, just get a feel for it, because each car, when I was in the showroom and I was testing them all out, there were both subtle and drastic differences, just in terms of speed, handling, and general things like that. That's a nice touch, that you don't just kind of go in blind and buy a car. But cars also need to be cared for, so whenever you get into a bit of rough and tumble and your car does take damage over time, your kind of right-hand woman, Zoe, will get on the blower to you, and she'll say, "Look, young fella, what are you doing out there? Come back to headquarters and we'll have to sort this car out." And then you do. And you can upgrade it in a performance fashion or an aesthetic fashion and add some sweet-ass racing stripes, or some kind of, I don't know, maybe you're very nationalistic and you can add your country's flag to the bonnet of your car or stuff like that. Just general things. Now, I get a very Burnout Paradise feel just generally from the game, because the mode where you're just driving around when you're not actually in an active mission is just called free driving, similar to Burnout Paradise. That is where you're just kind of driving around the world. Now, I also get a very Need for Speed type feel, and also Fast and the Furious, because I'm not sure how well known this is, but the Crew has a storyline. Racing games with storylines. Now, this could be a fucking shambles, but what I've played so far, if you go in with the right mindset, it's great crack, because the Crew thinks it is the coolest thing the world has ever seen. It generally does, to the point where your main character refers to Detroit as his quote-unquote hood, because he be so gangsta, as he looks like a mix between Gordon Freeman and Walter White. Also, actually, just on a side note, your main character is voiced by Troy Baker. The story itself, yeah, very, very Fast and the Furious. that kind of street racer trying to join a gang or a crew and build himself up the ranks. Like you're not going to be going into this expecting any sort of masterclass in storytelling, and you shouldn't, basically. But to be fair, what I have played of the beta, and again this is just my impression so far of what I've played, if you go in with the right mindset, you can have a bit of a laugh and really enjoy it, because the crew, again, I don't want to be too disparaging about the whole thing, because I'm actually quite enjoying it. It looks really nice as well. The cars, well, the first car I started off with handled like a piece of shit, and I was actually just a tad bit worried, but that was because I was a very lowly racer. But then I suppose as I've been climbing the ranks, I've been getting better cars. So that's my impressions of the crew so far. I think one to keep on your radar. This could turn out to be a pretty good game. So if you'll excuse me, I must put back in my seatbelt and put the car into 5th and drive off into this. You have to put it that just for it that won't work. I have to put it to first and work my way up the gears, because I can't start a car in 5th. It's very silly. It's very silly. Thanks for watching. Bye. Good luck. So long.